Some biotechs have made major moves higher lately, but others are still bouncing along the bottom. Just look at one that you constantly ask about, Opko Health. Biotech company also has a diagnostic business. Stock that's down at $6 and change, less than $1 above its multi-year low. This one has been a roller coaster. Opko got slammed after reporting a disappointing quarter back in May. The weakness didn't stop there. Next day, we learned the U.S. Attorney for Southern District, New York, going after the company because of BioReference Laboratories, a full-service lab business Opko bought 2 years ago. They say it may have violated the false claims and improperly billing Medicare. Then, day after that, an outfit called Seeking Alpha published an anonymous piece slamming Opko as being preposterously overvalued. Put it all together, it's been a brutal time for these guys. But last night, Opko reported a solid quarter, a smaller than expected loss on revenue that was just a little light, and the stock is now bouncing. Closed up 5% today. Now, there's a lot to keep track of with this company. It recently launched Rayaldee. That's a treatment for secondary hyperparathyroidism and kidney disease, patients with vitamin D deficiency. Big market. They also have a chemotherapy-induced nausea drug that was recently approved by the FDA, along with human growth hormone injection that's currently in phase 3 trials, and hemophilia drug that's in phase 2. So are the bears right to be skeptical of Opko, or has the stock just been punished too much? This man is a great moneymaker. I'm going to give him the floor to try to explain what's going on. Dr. Philip Frost, Chairman and CEO of Opko Health. Let's find out about the quarter and the prospects. Dr. Frost, welcome back to Mad Money.
Thank you. Great to be here.
All right, Dr. Frost, you have done some remarkable things. You've got 5 phase 2 clinical trials. You've got Rayaldee that's out there. You are doing some amazing stuff with 4K score with it. So many of the urologists are using. And yet I'm trying to figure out the disconnect between all these things that are working and your stock price.
Well, I won't comment on the stock price, but I can tell you quite a bit about what's going on in the company.
Sure.
So far as the investigation is concerned, let me put that to rest by saying that we got a call earlier in the year telling us that they were interested in knowing more about what's going on. We called back later to get some more information. They said they would call us back in April, never did. In the meantime, we've done an internal evaluation and audit, and we found no systemic problems. We found a few errors here and there, as you would expect in a business that has so many transactions. But I can also tell you that this sort of thing is routine in the industry.
Okay.
If you look at the regulatory filings for Quest or LabCorp, you'll see the same thing, or for any of the companies. So we don't think that that's a very big deal for us. And next,
yes, I mean, I liked what the urologists are adopting your 4K score like mad. The ability to diagnose prostate cancer in African-American men in May, that seemed like a very big breakthrough.
It is, because African-American men have a problem in that they develop a more aggressive form of prostate cancer, so it's particularly important to identify the problem early. And not only that, but people in the Caribbean who have some African blood in them, they form the more aggressive type of prostate cancer. It's a great test. It seems to be the best available. If you do the test after an elevated PSA, you can eliminate 50% of the biopsies, and it also tells you what your chances are that you will die from metastatic prostate disease. It's a terrific test. It's at a certain level. We're doing between 250 and 300 tests a day, up from about 4 tests a day when we acquired BioReference Laboratories, which is helping us to market it. But we look at this as just a baseline. We think it has nowhere to go but up, and now we're going to start a very important, intensive marketing campaign starting in the fall, including TV advertising. So it's a great product, and it put us in the urology business, which is even more important, because being there and knowing the urologists and being familiar what the real needs are, we came across a couple of products that I think have really great potential. One is a SARM, a selective androgen receptor modulator, that has already been in 350 men. It's safe, and it does this. It lowers body fat, increases muscle mass and strength, lowers the PSA. We're going to develop it for benign prostatic hypertrophy, which affects 60% of men over 50, and about 50 million men in the United States. The only thing missing is that the trial did not show that it shrinks the prostate. However, in the dog model, which is used to evaluate drugs of this type, it shrank the prostate by 60% after 3 months. So we're highly confident we're going to begin that trial in the fourth quarter of this year.
Okay, so I look at these and I say to myself, these are gigantic markets. When you start the TV ad campaign, I want to know whether the urologist will even be ready for the 4K. I mean, because to me, that biopsy is the most frightening thing in the world.
You're right. And I think the urologists mostly are aware of it. They're adopting it all the time, but we have to keep it in front of them, and we're going to make a real effort so that this becomes routine for not only urologists, but for many of the general practitioners as well.
Well, is this something that, I don't know if you had a chance to meet with President Trump, but this is the type of thing that if you wanted to be able to cut the health care costs in this country, both from infection, stays in hospitals, this has to be the easiest thing in the world to do. Has the president contacted you?
Well, we actually have done studies to show that it does cut the costs. And not only that, the biopsy, as you may know, is associated with all kinds of side effects in addition to the pain. Some require hospitalization. So it's a cost-effective tool that's a great value to men. I'm convinced that it will eventually become a routine test across the country.
And is that why you have, last question, but you just continue to buy stock in the open market, even though you have a ton of stock?
Right.
Well, let's leave it at that. I mean, I know you've been a huge buyer, and I know that the stock is inexpensive.
I always believe in buying, investing in things that I know about rather than things I don't.
Excellent. Dr. Frost. That's Dr. Philip Frost, Chairman and CEO of Opko Health. Sounds like they got a lot of things going for them, if you ask me. Stick with Cramer. Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.